What's up, everybody? We're on a podcast now. I'm Alex, and in this video, we finally get to talk about Marvel's Wolverine, new stuff that we've seen. We've gone 4 years just talking about the what ifs, and maybe that can still happen over the next year or so, but, it's been such a long journey, and my friends, we have finally made it. They show the trailer, and can we all just please take a collective sigh of relief, just a breath, because, that state of play started fast and strong, and then it kind of fizzled out. And when they showed the controller for God of War, the 20th anniversary, controller looks amazing. I thought the next game would be that Metroidvania God of War game, and I thought Wolverine was not going to show up at that point. I had just this moment in my head where I got so freaking scared. And then you start to hear the narration, and you start to hear kind of about this like constant desire or need for fighting. I said, that's him. That's it. There's no way. That's not Kratos. I don't hear that voice. That's got to be Wolverine. And the rest is history. We got the trailer, pretty meaty. Got the trailer, got a little bit of behind the scenes action afterwards, where the first things out of their mouth was focusing on, can we go for it? Or I know a lot of people have been asking us, like, are we going to give them like the Wolverine experience? And that is what Insomniac is going to try to do, is give, the best Wolverine game. Look, that Wolverine game back in like the PS3 era, actually not bad at all, but the bar is not massively high, right? So let's not just give us the best Wolverine game. Let's give us one of the best comic book games, that we've ever gotten in our lives. But it looks very good. I would say probably even higher than very good. It looks like a 9.5 out of 10. Visually spectacular, but how visceral. That is really beyond anything else. You get locations, you get some villains, you get mystique, you get a couple of really cool things. Beyond all of it was just really two things. One, they are going for it. The game looks brutal. And they talked about it afterwards, and they showed the clip again. There's the one scene where Wolverine literally, spikes people with the claws, goes through their skull, and you can see it. And YouTube can actually be quite sensitive with that stuff, and they even said like they weren't sure if that was even going to be able to make it in, and it was. So the amount of that I saw in the overall thing, right? I think pretty early on in the trailer you see dismemberment, and it's like, okay, the bar is set pretty high. As soon as you see like limbs start to come off, it's like they can do quite a lot, and they did, throughout the entire trailer. Just it reminds me of a more visceral Spider-Man. Like, definitely when they show the one kind of alleyway fight where he almost like does almost like a leaping, like almost a magnetic type pull thing to one enemy, kind of free flow combat. And then obviously Spider-Man was like an adaptation of that. So you got to see that. But when he's striking away and then he turns around to kind of do like a finisher move on the enemy behind him, I think that's kind of what's going on there. You're going to have something relatively in tune with what we've had with Spider-Man, but much more visceral. You see kind of moments of kind of the medium or heavier sized, not bosses, but I guess like grunt level people, right? When they're picking him up and he's able to like stab, kind of these, and we've had those in games before, right? You're grabbed and you're able to kind of mash square or something. You just kind of go off. Well, in this case, he's, he's stabbing you with claws. He might be able to rip off an arm or two, before he's done kind of with that animation. So that's the main takeaway to me. You get Madripoor, you get Japan, you get, the locations look great. You get some what looks to be on rails thing, with him on a motorcycle. It really, it looks kind of more of like a streamline, like, we're used to with Spider-Man, more open world. And, the missions, the main missions would become more linear, right? But that kind of open world thing to mess around. And I think this is supposed to be more kind of straightforward, maybe like Uncharted-esque in like these big moments that happen. And then that gameplay just looks really, really good. The actor is JD from Gears of War. That's pretty awesome. He seems like a nice guy and everything that he was talking about. Look, at the end of the day, it's just going to have to kind of work, right? So they're saying that next fall is when the game's going to come out, fall of 26. Kind of lines up with my prediction. I had said if they're going to show a trailer today, it means that the game is within a year to come out. And they're really stretching that definition, or like my explanation. They're really stretching it as far as it goes. But, could this game come out next September, October? That's actually exactly when I think it's going to happen. Funny enough, Halloween gets the date, September 8th, September 9th of next year. I think this game is going to be right around the same thing, September, October. And, Halloween, I think that takes a lot of guts, actually, to give a date 12 months in advance. But that's kind of where I'm thinking with Wolverine. And then, of course, they kind of snuck in there that they will be showing this game again in the spring. So, you can kind of look at your seasons, look at the calendar. I think spring quickly goes into more like summer, and I guess what I'm trying to get at, the state of play, that's always like late May, early June. I think that's the next time that we see Wolverine. And it's probably very similar to like what we got of Saros at the beginning of this state of play is probably what would happen with Wolverine. I think there'd be more marketing, obviously more push. It's a big game. I think it's going to be a really, really big game. And kind of the final thing I would say is the polish. I was really, really impressed with just, as you could say, like, oh, well, it looks really good. I mean, look behind me. I mean, this is one of the greatest, I think, box arts we've ever gotten. Like, it looks good. You could say, the engine, all that jazz. But I think the polish was honestly more than I thought it would be. Sometimes you can kind of see a little bit of jank, especially in a trailer, for a game that's like, say, a year away. And also, for a situation like this, I wouldn't fault them for really not showing all that much. I mean, I think I was telling people in the YouTube comments yesterday, I was honestly predicting like 80% cinematics and like 20% gameplay. I think it was reversed. I think we got maybe 3/4 of that thing was pure on gameplay. So it was honestly more of that than I expected. And a good thing. That's a good thing. Because I was kind of expecting, I was hoping they would show it. That was my prediction yesterday. I wanted it to be there, all that jazz. But I thought they would almost say, okay, well, we're going to show it, but we're still going to kind of be secretive, of it. We're going to hold some stuff back, and we might not even know how the game, gameplay-wise, operates. I'm really glad we got it this way, though, because most of it was gameplay, and that's where that kind of brutality, and you can get, the R-rated or M-rated, I guess, for games. You can get that in this situation. You can kind of see how it's going to play with that one specific alleyway thing. You can kind of get the gameplay out of it, and you can kind of just set the tone, for the entire game that I think you might not have been able to if you did it the other way. So super impressed, and hopefully it's not all that long, 6 months from now would be what, March? So probably not 6 months, maybe like eight-ish months until we get the next showing of this game. But hey, hopefully within 12 to 13 months, this game is out. Super, super excited, and thank you for the love of God, Insomniac, for doing it, because 4 years is too long. Let me just actually end on this. Never do this again. Never. And PlayStation has, I think, overall learned, and I think that was an era of mistakes. You don't do this again. Don't show a game to then take 4 years off to show it again. Let's not repeat this, okay? You show a game, it comes out within the next year or two max, and let's stop there. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.